Um, this is the fifth and final week, the final round. Um, I hope you guys have found it useful so far. I know I certainly have. I think what's been cool for me is the amount of sort of real conversations that we're having about the struggles we're going through. I feel like sometimes when we come to the Guru card, it's like, okay, we learn this thing about Sikhi and then like we're on our own and it's just up to us. And that's where we kind of fail. I feel like Guru Kirpa, we're building like a little bit of a community here where we're actually sharing real stuff that we're actually going through, things that we're struggling with. So thank you everyone who's been getting involved. I hope it's been useful. Um, so as always, before we start the talk, let's start off with the Mool Mantar and let's do this one together, Ji. ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, Sasangaji, with it being the last talk, we're going to test your knowledge a little bit. So, if my clicker works. It always does this. Sorry, guys. Right, Vaheguru, sorry. Okay, that's better. So we always start off with a Bangi. So who remembers what that is? Where did we start this whole thing from? What are we trying to get back to? Who remembers what that Bangi was? Anyone? Hanji? Apna Mool Bachan. Yeah, perfect. Man, tum jot sarup hai, apna Mool Bachan. So this is Guruji saying that on my mind, recognize that within you is the light of the one. That's actually who we are, and that's what we're trying to get back to. So to complete that journey, we're gonna need two things. What two things do we need? I'll give you a clue. One of them is not actually a boat, but what two things do we actually need? It's two things. Hanji. Yep. Yep. Meditation and good action. There you go. Okay. So that all builds up into this spiritual bank account. Okay. So every time we do something good, every time we tell the truth instead of lying, you guys being here now, coming to the Guru Garh, we could have been anywhere on a Sunday night, but we're all here learning. The Mool Mantar we just done, that's all being deposited into this spiritual bank account. Okay. And we've been building this up life after life. So this whole bank is behind us. So now we've got a bank. We've actually got a bank robber as well. So who's this bank robber? Who's stealing from us? What's that called? Anyone? Hanji? Yes, ego. Homme. Sorry, I've got to use my mouse on my leg. Okay, homme. Ego. So this whole thing has been about understanding the ego and basically trying to attack it, fighting back, defending ourselves from it. The thing is, the ego, when it's under threat, it's always going to try and defend itself. It's a very tricky thing, this ego. This is the voice that tells us that this isn't going to work, that Gurbani isn't going to work. This is the voice that tells us that it's too late or that the problem's too big and my Guru can't actually fix it. This is all from a place of ego. It's trying to not only steal from us, but it's trying to stop us from progressing on this journey. So the ego manifests in 5 different ways: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. And last week we looked at pride, Ahankar. So we looked at how pride makes us forget that we're just waste, bones, and blood wrapped up in skin, like Maharaj said, right, last week, which is a very harsh reminder but it's kind of true. So Maharaj is saying, if that's all you are, if that's all your body is, how can you have so much pride over something like that? So it's quite a harsh truth Maharaj gives us, but this is what pride tricks us into thinking. It tricks us into thinking that we're something great. The other thing was when we slander someone, even though we're saying he or she did this, it's actually all about us. We're strengthening our own sense of pride. It's the pain we feel when we have to say sorry. You know, that little inner pain that we don't necessarily tell people? That's pride. That's our pride getting hurt. We looked at the Saki of Gopal, whose grandfather, in the form of a dog, shattered his pride. We looked at the Saki of Satta and Balawand, who just from slander, just from that one act of slandering, they were completely outcast. It took a great sacrifice from a great Gursikh to actually save them. Right? All from slander. That's how dangerous it is. So this week, we're going to be looking at... Oh, sorry, before you go on. So as a part of this week's spiritual self-defense, the Bhakti we were going to meditate on was Hum nahi jange, bura nahi koi. So this was all about remembering that I am not good, no one is bad. And in terms of good action, our challenge this week was no slander. None of it. No gossiping, anything like that. Anything that didn't affect anyone's life. Anything that gave us a kick out of saying it. Anything that didn't actually have anything good coming out of saying it, we had to steer well away from. So Satsangaji, let's see how you guys got on. So hopefully by now you guys know how this works. If this is your first time here, there's a few new faces. Just use your phones and go on vvox.app and type in that code. Or the easiest way to do it is actually just to scan this QR code. It's just a very quick survey. I just want to see how you guys got on during the week. And if anyone needs any help, just raise their hand. Okay, hopefully everyone's ready. So this first question should come up automatically on your phones right now. And the question is, how successful were you in avoiding slander this week? How did you guys get on? Were you a saint? Did you slip up a few times? I know I did. Or did you try, but Jar and Friends is a slander starter pack? Let's see how you guys got on. Yeah, same here. Same here. I slipped up a few times as well. Okay. Was most of your slander verbal, as in spoken to someone, or was it internal? Was it just your thoughts? This was an interesting one for me. Or was it both equally? Let's see what you guys put. Ooh, both equally. Interesting. Mine was definitely internal, more than verbal. Okay, cool. Next one then. When you were tempted to slander, how hard was it not to give in? How hard is it in that moment not to say something, to hold your tongue or hold your thoughts? Is it very hard, just hard? Or was it actually quite easy? Let's see what you put. Okay, a lot of you put hard and then very hard, coming in second place. Okay, what did you realize about yourself during this challenge? Are you aware of how much you slander? For anyone that did this, are you aware of how much you gossip? Or was it more than what you thought? Or maybe even it was less than what you actually thought? So again, being completely honest, it's completely anonymous. Let's see what you guys put. I gossip more than I thought. Yeah, same here. Okay, what was the hardest part of the challenge? I think on this one, you can choose more than one answer and hit send at the bottom. Was it overcoming your own desire to slander? Or was the problem that you're around people that do it? Was that what made it hard? Was it actually meditating on Gurbani? Maybe that was the hardest part. Maybe it was something else altogether. Let's see what you guys put. Ooh, okay. So there's not much in it between being around people and actually overcoming our own desire to slander. Okay, how did reflecting on hum nahi jange bura nahi koi, that I am not good, no one is bad, how did that affect your perspective? Did it humble you? Maybe it made you think about what other people are going through instead of judging them straight away. Or maybe it's something that you're still working on. So you guys put, ooh, to draw between still working on it and it made you curious about what other people are going through. Interesting, okay. And then the last one, would you try this challenge again? Did it help at all? Again, completely honest. If it didn't help, no worries. Let's see what you guys put. Yes, nice. No one put no. Thank you very much. Okay. So that's the end of the quiz, guys. Instead of shutting down your browsers, if you could just lock your phones, because we're going to be coming back to this quiz in just a bit. So in terms of what you guys put online in the WhatsApp group, there was a lot of themes of unlearning. People found it really hard, very humbling as well, and more conscious. People became more conscious about how often they did it. I know that certainly applies to me. Guru Kirpa, verbally throughout the week, I don't think I actually slandered that much. Maybe on 3 or 4 of the days. But mentally, slander it's horrible. It's those little judgments we make. You know, when someone does something that we don't like, it's that little, oh, why did they do it like this? What's wrong with them? It's that little voice. Because actually what we're saying is I'm better than that person. That was really, really hard to stop. Hum nahi change, bura nahi koi. That's what brought me right back to square one. What I found personally, by remembering that, it made it easier just to move on. That, okay, this happened. It wasn't the way I wanted it. So what? Let's move on. Next thing. So I was able to move a lot quicker personally. That's what I found. So this is the part where we open the floor now. Has anyone got any thoughts of their own? We've actually got a mic today. Ripindeet's ready to run around the Darbar. Has anyone got anything they maybe want to share? Maybe they found really difficult during the week or surprisingly easy? Normally takes one brave person, Hanji, to start everything. Go on, Dilip.
Yeah, I think I was more on like the plane that you were saying, that I wasn't really verbally doing it as much, but yeah, the thoughts, the judgments all come in, and that was really difficult. Just because they're like an ingrained habit. You don't even realize it until you actually go into it, right? And it's difficult because when the thought comes in. But then one thing that really works for me, I think I said it before as well, is just letting the thought just pass. You know, don't judge, because we talk about not judging other people, and that's when standard comes in.
Right.
But I think also across the board as well, not judging yourself as well.
Nice.
Because if we're going to do non-judgment, then we have to start here as well,
For sure.
right?
Nice.
So that's one thing that really helped me, because when you're in that sort of zone, you could say, and it's wrong to say when you're in that sort of zone, when that observation starts happening, right? When you look at yourself without any preconception, without any judgment, when that watching just sort of happens, right? There is a calmness that I feel there. There is a watching. There is something, there's a stillness in there. You know, we talk about trying to still the mind. We're not trying to. It's just naturally there's a stillness there. That's just watching it. So that's what.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Anyone else? Any of us? No? Hanji. Jagjit Kaur.
I found this one probably the hardest out of all of them. I think we got downstairs after the talk yesterday, and within like 2 minutes, I was about to tell a story, and then all the siblings checked me that, are we slandering? And I was like, yeah, we're about to. I think the course in general has been really nice because we've been doing this collectively. So on the week whereas anger is like, are we showing anger? Are we showing pride? So we've been able to hold each other accountable. But this one was, yeah, very difficult. I think what was nice though was being aware of slandering meant I was able to catch myself slandering. So then it was like, okay, let's stop. Then that helped also what you said, just moving on from it really quickly. And then I think work environment is where I realized it's probably the most. I think it's because of like who we're around. It's just a competitive environment. So it was nice because it meant that actually this week where I was catching myself maybe being in an environment or putting myself in an environment like that, I could take myself out. It's a choice I could make. And then what I ended up having was a more productive week than I usually would. So yeah, that's my week.
Guru Kirpa. You just reminded me of something. When the talk finished last week and we were like, yeah, no slander for 1 week, straight away someone came up to me and they were like, I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is slander. And I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Guru Kirpa, what they said wasn't slander. But yeah, it is very difficult. Very difficult. Hanji, anyone else? Any others? Okay, guys. All right, we'll move on to the fifth, the final jord. Calm. Desires. The desire that arises from the ego's craving to possess, consume, and validate itself through external experiences, particularly through pleasure and ownership. Okay, so this is all about feeling good and having more. Calm is less about connection or joy and more about control, identity, and self gratification. What feels good to me? It's that thing that says, I need this to feel whole. Without it, I'm lacking. Others have it, so I must have it too. Everyone's got a 5-bed house. Guess what my goal is? I need a 5-bed house or more, right? It's that desire that makes us feel powerful. So this calm, it enslaves the mind in a cycle of wanting without fulfillment. Always chasing, but never arriving. It's a bit like, there's hamsters on the hamster wheel that just keep running and running and running. It's a bit like living like that. Imagine running a race and there's no finish line. And you just keep running. You keep going. Like, that's absolute torture. It sounds crazy when we think of it like that. That is absolute madness. We're never going to get to the end. But this is what calm does to us. So when we asked you guys at the beginning, which one of these 5 affect you the most? This was actually first place along with attachment. Really interesting. And I'm not actually surprised because Maharaj says, Kaam, Krodh, Ahankar, Viguti. Humbly lagi tate. So they say Kaam, Krodh, that the desire and the anger, along with pride, destroy us. So these 2 words, Kaam and Krodh, they come up quite a lot in Gurbani. Does anyone know why? Why would the desire come with anger? Any guesses? Hanji? Yeah, perfect. If we don't get what we want, we get angry. If our desire isn't filled, we get angry. But Maharaj says, Ahankar. Ahankar means pride. So what happens when we do get what we want? I've got this thing. See that over there? That's mine. See how the ahankar kicks in? So we got krodh on one side. We get angry when we don't get it. When we do get it, we get pride. Pride then leads to, I need more. Greed. Then that actually leads to more, meaning attachment. Now that I've got all of this, I need more and more, and I don't want to lose what I've got. It all starts from calm. This is the ringleader. This is the heavyweight hitter. It all starts from the desire. This is what destroys us. Mara says this ego is tate. It's very hot. It burns us, and it feels like a burning, doesn't it? Until we get what we want, we're not settled. There was a businessman who would travel quite often as a part of his work, and he had a young child with his wife, and they were happily married. And what happened was he went away for some time on business and left his wife at home. His wife suffered a lot from lust, this calm, this desire. Now, as the businessman was away, the wife, she invites a lover into her home. She gives into this fire, this calm that's burning her. At one point, the baby, just an infant, starts crying for milk. The lover turns to the wife and he says, look, you better go check on this baby. It's crying. Feed it, go. The wife goes to the baby. Baby stopped crying. The wife comes back. After some time, the lover asks again, I haven't heard the baby. It's been a while now. Is everything okay? Go check. She goes, there's no need to check on the baby. The lover's asking, okay, why? Why aren't you checking on your own child? She goes, oh, my love, for you, I killed my own baby. My own child, I killed it. Just so that we're not getting disturbed, I've done that for you as an act of devotion. The lover panics. He starts freaking out. What have you done? How could you have done this? How could you have killed your own child? What's going to happen to us now? The wife, she gets angry. First was the calm, then comes the krodh, the anger. She gets angry. She doesn't like the way he's acting. She picks up a knife. She kills her own lover as well. She buries them both in a part of the home. After some time, the husband returns and he's got a feeling that something's up. Something's not quite right. When he goes to check what's here, what's buried in this part of the home, he can tell something's up. The wife, again, she gets angry at what he's doing. They have a confrontation. She ends up killing her husband as well. 3 murders, Satsangaji, all from Kaam, all from desire. Once she's killed them all, she tells the village that a robber came, killed all of them except her. She goes, I can't believe it, robber. Killed my husband, killed this guy who was in my house, killed my own child as well. So she put on this front to save her own image in front of everyone. Then came the funeral for her husband. So as they were burning the body, she said that I can't live without my husband, that I will now do sati. Sati, if you don't know, it's when the wife would burn herself on the funeral pyre of her husband. This is how things used to be in India. So if the wife died, the husband could remarry. If the husband died, the wife would burn herself on the funeral pyre, right? Completely unfair. So as she's walking towards the funeral pyre, a sadhu, a holy man, in the form, Vaheguru Ji themselves, God themselves in the form of a holy man, comes to that woman. He says, oh, you wretched woman. Oh, you liar, he says. He says, I saw everything you done. I saw how for the sake of your own desire, you killed your own child. And I saw that your desire led you to anger and you killed your own lover, you killed your own husband as well. She looked at him and said, oh, sadhu, if I knew you had seen me, if I knew you had seen what I'd been up to, believe me, I would have killed you as well. If only I knew you were there. That's what she's saying to God. Obviously, God sees everything. So that fire that consumed her made her kill 3 people, including a child, and turned her against God themselves. She ended up going on the funeral pyre and burning. So that ego Maharaj talks about, that is tatte, that is very hot. She ended up burning from the inside and the outside as well. She climbed the funeral pyre and killed herself on that. This Saki is all about adultery. Adultery being a relationship outside of marriage. Now Maharaj, they warn us against adultery. So for those who are initiated into the Khalsa, Bajar Gurehet is a cardinal sin, which means one of them is no carnal relations outside of marriage. None. None outside of the bond of marriage. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they wrote 52 hukums for their Sikhs, 52 orders. One of them is Anand Viyah bina grist nahi karna. Without the Anand Karaj marriage ceremony, you cannot have carnal relations with someone. No, not outside of a marriage bond. This is how sacred it is. The problem is, Satsangaji, we live in a world where adultery, lust, it's everywhere. And I mean everywhere. It's harder, I would say, to avoid than it is to go and find it. If you want to go find it, just turn the TV on, it will come. A few Google searches, you're there. To avoid it is really hard. Now, the problem is that adultery and lust is kind of normalized, right? To have a physical bond with someone outside of marriage, that's almost frowned upon in today's society. That there's something wrong with you, that you're waiting for marriage. Like, what's wrong with you? That's crazy. No one really does that, okay? So this is the sort of society we're in. This is what we're surrounded by, this message of lust, this message of cheating, that everyone's accessible. It's in our music. It's in the movies. There's a TV show where, this is crazy, married couples come together, they all cheat on their husbands and wives, and then they come back and do an interview to see whether it helped the marriage or not. Like, how crazy is that? Like, oh, your wife just cheated on you. How do you feel? Yeah, I feel great, mate. Feels good. This is crazy, right? But this is the sort of stuff, this is the conditioning that's happening to us, that everyone's accessible. This sacred bond of marriage is based on love. The sanctity of that marriage, the sanctity, the pureness of that bond of marriage is being attacked. It's not obvious, but it is. Slowly, slowly, the sanctity of marriage is being attacked. We are being moved from a place of love to a place of lust. We are being moved from a place of love to a place of lust. In the way that everyone is accessible, whether they're married or not, don't worry, just go for it. Fulfill your lust. We're being conditioned to forget things like loyalty. So they're trying to move us from love to lust. Now, our Guru, they're trying to move us the other way. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in their writings, they tell us about a really interesting conversation they had with their father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. They say, Sud jabte ham tari bachan Gurudev hamare. When I came of age, my Guru, meaning Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, their father, they said this thing to me, and they're sharing it with us. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji said, my son, as long as there is life in your body, as long as you're alive, promise to grow the love with your own wife. Nij nari ke saath nehe tum nit bataye ho. Grow the love with your own wife. So they're actually giving us the framework to use this energy in the right way, from a place of love. So our gurus trying to get us from a place of lust back to a place of love. And think about it, Satsangji, within a marriage, if you act from a place of love, then you can't abuse someone, you can't exploit someone, you can't physically hit someone. You know, sometimes Siki comes under fire. People from other faiths say, well, you know, your teachings don't tell us what the husband must do in this situation, what the wife must do in this situation. No, it doesn't. Because our gurus, Siki, is on another level. They don't even have to get into the nitty-gritty do's and don'ts. All our guru is saying, are you living from a place of love? Are you doing what you're doing from a place of pure love? If the answer is no, then you cannot do it. If it's from a place of love, fine. Grow that love, Maharaj is saying. Grow that love with your partner. So obviously, Maharaj is saying this to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, so they're referring to a wife, but obviously this applies to the Big Bia as well. They say, but never, even in your dreams, not even in your dreams, Satsangji, enter the bed of another person's wife. Imagine, how much control do we have in our dreams? Not much. Even then, Maharaj is saying, even there, this is the seriousness they put on something like adultery. To enter the bed of someone who's not your own partner, that's a big no-no. Don't even dream of it, Maharaj is saying. This is the importance of staying faithful. This is the importance of staying loyal to your partner. So I just thought, you know, sometimes we might look at this and think, well, why is Maharaj telling us this? Let's just say someone's brought up in the view that lust, adultery, cheating, like that's all normal. Let's just say that this is completely new to someone. They might say, well, why is Maharaj trying to stop me from, I don't know, enjoying my life? Why are they trying to stop me from having fun? Right? So let's see what Maharaj says about this. They say, Nimaka kama swad karana kota dinasa dukha pavahe. For one moment of carnal pleasure, one moment, we're going to suffer for millions of days. Kota dinas, millions, countless of days. This is what Maharaj is saying. So Maharaj isn't trying to hold us back. They're actually trying to protect us. They know how we're going to get judged. They know what it's like on the other side. So they're trying to stop us. They know what's in the afterlife. They're trying to stop us from suffering. So they're saying quite openly, don't do this. Don't do this outside of that framework, because if you do it even for one moment, you're going to suffer a lot. Maharaj doesn't want us to suffer. They're trying to move us from a place of lust back to love. Okay. So what about desires in general? So we've covered lust, but what about our desires in the world? There's so much we want, right? If someone asked you, Satsangaji, right now, what do you want? And what do you want? Like, what would we even say? That seems like such an easy question, right? What do you want? We feel like there's so many things that we want, but sometimes answering it's quite hard. What would we even say? Like, what do you want? So we're going to go through some common wants, some common things that a lot of people want, and we're going to look at the why people want it. First one is money. Probably one of the most popular ones, wealth, money. Why do we want money? Any answers? Hanji? To boast about it, yeah? What else do we do with that money? You're absolutely right, but what else do we do with it? Yep. Perfect. We spend it. We use it to buy things. Simple, right? We buy food, cars, holidays. Yeah. So we want money, and the why is to buy things and to boast about. Okay. What about a person? We want a person, right? What if we're desiring someone? We might like their personality. We might like their looks, right? That's the reason why we want this person. We might want, or someone might want, alcohol. Why would they want alcohol? Because it makes them forget their problems in that moment when they're intoxicated. So these are just some common ones. So let's look at the actual desire. What's behind all of this? So let's start from the top. So we want money to buy things, right? Why do we want to buy things? What's that desire? What do we want? Any ideas? Hanji? Say again, sorry? Sorry, I'm getting old. I can't hear a word you said, but I'm going to guess that you said to make me happy. You're absolutely right. Well done. To make us happy, right? Why do we want a person? Why do we want that person? Personality and looks? Why? Why do we want someone? Hanji? Who's that? Yeah. Same reason. 10 points. To make us happy. In those moments when someone's forgetting their problems, they feel happiness. So the want can be all these different things, but the underlying desire is all the same. We actually just want to be happy. There's nothing wrong with that. But the wants are so different. Okay. Now companies know this. Companies that try and sell us this, they know this exact thing. This is a billboard of some new homes that are being built, right? So these advertisements are saying, come and build this new home. The image on the left is of the home. I get it. You're selling a home. People need to know what it looks like. What on earth is the image on the right? Why put smiling people there? They're probably not even in the house that they're trying to sell. What has that got anything to do with you buying a house? Any guesses? Yes. Selling the lifestyle. You work in housing as well, don't you, if I remember correctly? Yes. They're selling the lifestyle, you evil people. Right. Selling the lifestyle. They're trying to say, if you buy this home, you will be happy. All right? They're trying to feed on our happiness. That's all this image has got to do with. These guys probably aren't even a family. They're probably paid actors, right? They certainly don't come with a home. Well, I hope they don't. But this is all about the feeling of happiness. Buy this home, you will be happy. Okay. I want you guys to read this Starbucks advert carefully. What do you notice about it? Does anything stand out? Is anything weird about this? For those of you that can read it. Sorry, I appreciate it's a bit small. Any ideas? Anything wrong with it? Anything weird? Or have we just got a bunch of dookie Starbucks lovers? Right. Look at the wording. Rewards. Unlock bonus stars. You're going to win for a year. This is all designed to give us a sense of achievement. It's just coffee. It's just Starbucks. But look at the wording. Rewards o'clock. You're going to unlock bonus stars. I don't even know what bonus stars are. What was bonus stars got to do with coffee? All they're trying to say is, you keep spending with us, you're going to stay happy. These stars have got nothing to do with what they're selling us. They're just trying to make us feel happy through a sense of achievement. Look at what you've unlocked, right? Or upgraded is a common thing they use, right? It's all designed to make us feel like we've done something. Do you guys use this? I hope not. Right, okay. So now we're going to categorize all of these. We've got temporary happiness on the left and a permanent happiness on the right. Money, where's that going? Permanent or temporary? Where are we putting it, guys? Any ideas? Hanji? Temporary, okay. Why temporary? That's very deep, but you're not wrong. We are all going to die one day and we're not going to take the money with us. Great. I'm not asking you again. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, Isha. That's my nephew, by the way. I can play with him. Right, okay. So money. Money is temporary happiness. Okay. What about a person? Permanent happiness? Any married couples here completely happy with their partner? It's temporary, isn't it? Okay. Alcohol? Temporary? Yeah? Doesn't last? What about a home? Again, temporary. We get it and we're really happy, and then it starts to fade. I need a bigger home. My home doesn't look as nice as it did. Yeah, and coffee. I've said coffee, but it could be anything. Could be clothes. You buy a new set of clothes, 6 months, they're old. Got to buy the next set. This is concept. This is so enslaving. This is the fundamental problem that we spoke about. This garm, it enslaves us. We're never going to get to the finish line. There'll never be enough money. There won't ever be enough alcohol. There's not going to be a big enough house to fulfill us. No wonder there's so much unhappiness in this world. Everything we're chasing is just temporary. We can't win this race. There's no finish line. We're always chasing, never arriving. So now we've understood that. Now's a perfect time to get your opinion. So we're going to go back to the survey and we're going to see what your guys' views, what your guys' opinions are on calm, on this desire. Are you okay? Okay. Does anyone need more time? Okay, hopefully this first question pops up on your phone straight away. I desire what? What do you want? What is it that you guys want? Is it a possession? Is it a person? Is it money? Do you want that home? Or is it actually a feeling you're chasing? Yeah. It's a feeling, isn't it? Okay. Okay, interesting. Next. I suffer more from. So which of those two do you suffer more from? Again, completely anonymous. We don't know who's put what. Lust. Is it lust? Is it worldly desires? Or is it both equally? Suffer from both of them. Ooh, interesting. Wow, I was not expecting that. I thought worldly desires was going to be the least, you know? Okay, cool. To me, lust feels like what? Does it feel like something to be enjoyed? Something to be controlled? Or is it actually just something you're still trying to understand? Maybe you're not quite there yet. Let's see what you guys put. Something to be controlled. Interesting, okay. Very few of you put in something to be enjoyed. Cool, okay. The thought of ignoring a lustful thought instead of indulging in it seems what? You get those horrible thoughts. Sometimes they come at the worst times. Is it possible, do you think, to actually ignore it? Or is it just impossible? Maybe it's too hard. Or maybe you're not sure. Let's see. Possible. Great. Okay, nice. Next, the idea of internal happiness. A happiness that isn't based on desires. Does that even seem possible? Again, just be completely honest. Okay, this was the last question. Let's see what you guys put. Nice. Okay, a lot of you put possible. It is possible, Sasangaji. Sorry, that wasn't the last question. There's one more. In terms of society conditioning my desires, I am very aware, somewhat aware, or not aware at all. This is those Starbucks ads, those housing advertisements. Are we aware of what's actually happening to us? About adultery, giving into your lust, everyone being accessible. Are we aware? Let's have a look. Yeah, a lot of you put very aware. Nice. Okay, cool. Overcoming calm. What about getting rid of it all? Does that even seem possible? Or is it just too hard? And now this is actually the last question. Let's see what you guys put. Awesome. A lot of you put possible. It is possible, Sasangaji. Impossible is the ego's answer. Sorry to tell you. Your ego's going to say, there's no way I can get past this. The ego's going to say, remember how we said at the beginning, the ego's threatened? That's when the ego tries to fight us. To say, no, this is too strong an emotion. This feels too good. I can't beat it. That's the ego. It is possible, Sasangaji. So let's explore how. We're going to have a conversation with Will Smith. This guy has a net worth of over $350 million. Mega rich. He says something really interesting. He says, I wish everyone could have everything they desired. Once you have everything, you realize nothing will make you happy. This guy's had everything. All the houses, the cars, the boats, the planes, you name it. He says nothing is actually going to make us happy. He says you realize you have to learn to bring positive energy that isn't generated by stuff and that isn't generated by a person. We have to find it within ourselves. He says, finishes off with something really interesting. He says you find a spiritual place where you trust God, in that no matter what happens, I'm going to be happy with it. Imagine that, Sartangaji. Gyani Will Smith's talking about hukum, right? Accepting God's will, accepting God's hukum, and just being happy with it, right? It's amazing. So this is someone who's had everything. We'd love to have $350 million, I'm sure, but this is someone who's had it all and said it still ain't going to make you happy. That we're going to have to find that happiness inside of us. Now, what's interesting is our Guru knew that one day we would ask, how do I be happy? They knew this. So what did Guru Amar Das Ji do? They wrote a whole Bani, a whole prayer on how to be happy. 40 Poriya, 40 verses, 40, just on how to be happy. They even called it Ananda Sahib, the prayer of bliss, the prayer of happiness. And they say some amazing things. They say Anand, sabko ka hai. Everyone talks about bliss. Everyone talks about happiness, whether it be money. I've got this car. I went on this holiday. They say Anand Guru Te Janya, pure bliss. If you want to know true happiness that doesn't run out, if you want to know that permanent happiness, it actually comes from our Guru. So they're telling us where we got to start. We got to start from our Guru. They say surrender your body. Dana mana dana sab sob gurko hukum maniya baiya. Surrender your body, your mind, and your wealth. Everything to your Guru. Give it all up. You're going to have to let go of everything in order to find that happiness, in order to find the one, that Jod Sarup that we started with, that light that's inside of us, that soul. So what is this hukum? Maharaj is saying follow your Guru. So what's our Guru telling us to do? Hukum maniho Guru kera, gavaho sachi bani. Straight, simple, so simple. They're saying sing. Sing this Gurbani. Sing it. Listen to it. Say it. Repeat it over and over again. Meditate on it. Learn about it. This is literally what's going to make us happy. They're telling us step by step, this is how you get happiness. They say don't do anything that you're going to regret in the end. Like we said earlier, just for one moment of carnal pleasure, we're going to regret for millions of days. Maharaj is saying here as well, don't regret anything you're going to, don't do anything that you're going to regret in the end. Don't give into lust. Don't give into adultery. Don't break the heart of the one you love. Don't waste time chasing temporary highs. So how are we going to defend ourselves against this? We're going to have to fight. How are we going to make sure that we don't do something that we're going to end up regretting in the end? So we need two things, right? So we need meditation and we need good action. So for this week, the last week, the meditation is going to be this. Tati vauna lagi par braham saranai. It means that this hot wind, this thing that burns us, whether it be calm, whether it be lust, desires, even anger, all of that, it doesn't actually touch someone who's under the saranai, under the protection of Par Braham, under the protection of Vaheguru Ji. It doesn't touch them. So whenever we have these thoughts, Sasangaji, all we've got to do is just keep saying this. It might sound impossible. Like I said, the ego is going to say this isn't going to work. The ego is going to say that Gurbani isn't going to work. But if we're not even willing to try, how are we going to know? How are we going to know? So this is the Gurbani, and then Guru Gobind Singh Ji, another one of their 52 hukams that we spoke about earlier, another one is that they actually tell us to see everyone other than our spouse, see everyone other than our husband or wife as a family member. as a son, as a daughter, a brother, sister, father, mother. This is what Guru Gobind Singh Ji says to us in terms of fighting our lust. So it's a bit like getting fit. We need to be fit and healthy, right? With our body. We need to do it spiritually as well. So meditation, this is like the food, right? You can't out-train a bad diet. This is the good diet. So repeat after me, Sasangaji, Tati Vauna Lagi, Par Braham Saranai. Tati Vauna Lagi, Par Braham Saranai. If anything's telling you that you can't do it, or that it's not going to work, and that you shouldn't bother, remember, that's your ego. Sasangaji, for 1 week, let's just give it a go. Give it everything we got for 1 week, 7 days. As soon as we walk out of this to the bar, any dodgy thought, Tati Vauna Lagi, Bar Braham Sanai. Maharaj, keep me with you. I don't want this. I want to fight it. I want to be in control of it. Fighting it might seem really hard. That might seem impossible. And you know what? Maharaj knows. They say in Anand Sahib that this path of Sikhi, this path of a devotee, is really hard. They're saying it. They know it. They're not saying it's easy. They're saying it's really, really hard. It's the most difficult path. They're not just saying it's hard. It's the most difficult path there is. We're going against the whole world. The whole world that's normalizing all of this, we're going way against the grain. Maharaj is saying, if you want to follow me, this is a difficult path. Make no mistake about it. What happens if you follow that path? That will end up controlling all 5 of these thieves. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. Not only that, we'll control our ego and we'll control this Kal. Death. We'll conquer even death. Gantak. Gantak means like a dukhdai, like something that really pains us. That death that gives us so much pain, we'll conquer that as well if we just follow our Guru. They say these people who follow this path, even though it's hard, even though it's against what everyone else is doing, they become pure. They become pavit. This last 4 weeks, Satsangji, is all about purification. It's been hard. Let me tell you, it's been hard. For those of us that have been trying to live it, it's horrible sometimes. But this is all a purification process. Maharaj said it ain't going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. Because what happens when we become pure? Par Brahma Prabhapaya Uttare Sagal Visure. That we're going to complete this journey back to that Jyotsru. We're going to obtain Vaheguru Ji. We're going to obtain that actual happiness, that permanent happiness. This is where it is. It's actually through our Guru. Imagine having that lust that's gone, that anger that's gone, that hatred. How good does that sound? So these are clear steps on how to be happy, and these are clear steps on how to get back to this Jyotsrup, this soul that's inside us. It all links. So we're going to end this whole course with where we started. Man tu Jyotsrup hai, apna mool pechan. And this is a spiritual path we're walking. When I was putting this together this week, I thought, for the last 4 weeks, we've been speaking about everything that's trying to attack us. Our anger, our pride, this attachment. But what about this Jyotsrup? What does that feel like? What does bliss even feel like? I thought, why don't we ask someone that's experienced that? Oh, Maaf karna ji, hold on.
I decided to say Vaheguru, and just something happened to me. It's more like an overwhelming experience. At the same time, it felt like an awakening, and it felt like at some points it felt like I was being absorbed into something. It felt real. It felt like it was right to do that, and I realized that was like an awakening thing. And I was very blessed actually to have that experience. Very blessed that for some, probably from whatever, it's not from this life, because my life so far has been pretty miserable at that point to a Sikhi, but from some previous life or whatever it was, or Guru Sahib's blessing really, that time that I said Vaheguru a few times, I felt something and it made me get scared, or it made me feel like there was something more to life than just the mundane. So then I signed up for the Sikhi camp. And the Sikhi camp, every morning there was Simran, and every evening there was a Gurdwara. And it's actually very blissful. So I was walking around and now I started to feel not just the bliss, but I started to feel love, towards the Guru. And the whole Sangat was rubbing off on me, so I was feeling this love. I started to fall in love with it, I started to fall in love with God, and I started to fall in love with my Guru. And it was just the same thing, love and bliss. And sometimes I'd feel tearful, I'd start crying. Sometimes I felt like I missed Vaheguru. Sometimes I was just sitting in bliss and just enjoying it.
Sorry guys, I'm going to stop it there. I had a feeling this might happen, so I'm going to try and play it from my phone. Okay, let's see if this works.
I met this guy who was a Singh, and we were at his house, and he said, look, let's do some Simran. I decided to say Vaheguru, and just something happened to me. It's more like an overwhelming experience. At the same time, it felt like an awakening, and it felt like, at some points, it felt like I was being absorbed into something. It felt real. It felt like it was right to do that. And I realized that was like an awakening thing, and I was very blessed actually to have that experience. Very blessed that for some, probably from whatever, it's not from this life, because my life so far has been pretty miserable at that point to a Sikhi, but from some previous life or whatever it was, Guru Sahib blessing really, that time that I said Vaheguru a few times, I felt something and it made me get scared, or it made me feel like there was something more to life than just the mundane. So then I signed up for the Sikhi camp, and the Sikhi camp, every morning there was Simran, and every evening there was a Darbar, and it's actually very blissful. So I was walking around, and now I started to feel not just the bliss, but I started to feel love, towards the Guru, and the whole Sangat was rubbing off on me, so I was feeling this love. I started to fall in love with it, I started to fall in love with God, and I started to fall in love with my Guru. And it was just the same thing, just love and bliss. And sometimes I'd feel tearful and start crying. Sometimes I felt like I missed Vaheguru. Sometimes I was just sitting in bliss and just enjoying this awesome joy. Sometimes I felt like I wasn't even attached to my body, I was just floating in space and just, in just how awesome everything was. I just, in my heart, I knew that God is real. I was just like, oh wow, God is real, Simran is real, and Guru is real, and Sikhi is real. And suddenly everything just made perfect sense. The whole of Sikhi made perfect sense. The way that the Guru people used to meditate and do Part and Simran, I realized they were just trying to get that experience, and that experience is really important because it's mind-blowing. And then you understood Guru is not just a person, he's come down to give God to us.
Guru's not just a person, they've come down to give God to us. That didn't sound too bad, did it? This bliss, pure love, felt like he was coming out of his body at times. Felt like there's something more to life. Satsangji, this journey to that place, every single one of us is on it. All of us. No matter where we are in our journey with regards to Sikhi, we're all on a journey to get back to that Jyot Swarup. We're all on a journey to actually experience this. All we've got to do is defend that journey. Defend it. Walk it, enjoy it, but look after it as well. We're going to have to fight. Thank you. Thank you so much. We've come to the end. For the last time, Satsangji, thank you so much. Has anyone got any questions, any vichar, any thoughts of their own before we wrap up? Hanji. Do you mind just waiting for the mic, Ji? Sorry.
Although we need to follow this journey, it's everyone's, how do I say it? Way of follow it, not way. Everyone's ultimate goal to follow this journey. Some people find it through experiences. Some you go through different experiences to understand what's happened.
Hanji.
Yeah.
Hanji.
So unless for me, it was I went through different experiences to understand.
Vaheguru.
Because one of the things that happened is when I tied the star, I felt like I had found something I'd lost. That's what I
Sorry,
felt.
do you mind moving the mic closer
Yeah,
to you
sorry.
now, Hanji, please?
When I tied the star,
Hanji.
so somebody who worked where I work, she helped me tie it. One of the things I felt was that I had found something I'd lost.
Vaheguru.
Yeah,
Vaheguru.
that's what I felt
It's
like.
amazing.
And there's somebody like me, I don't know how to read part. I didn't even know Punjabi. I didn't know anything. So, I mean, my husband has some sort of level. He used to say to me things I never understood. But it's you go through different experiences to understand how to move on that journey.
Vaheguru.
Everyone has a different experience. That's what I just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing. Thank you. Anyone else? Any vichar, any questions before we wrap up? Hanji. Just wait. You're going to try and sell me a house, aren't you? Go on.
No, not today. How can we balance being, say, ambitious with a business or career without kind of having worldly desires? Like, because you got to drive, say you want to be the best at whatever it is, then how do you avoid kind of having a worldly desire in that?
For sure. That's a great question. So how do we balance it? We've got to live in the world, right? We've got to buy our coffee. So how do we avoid that desire? Okay. In the first week, we covered 2 Sakya. One was of Mula, who wrote down Death is the Truth, Life is a Lie. The second Saki was of Gudjan and Sheehan. All 3 of these people were merchants. They're all businessmen. The thing that was in common between both Sakya was they all spent time with Guru Nanak. They learned how to meditate. They learned all of this. They learned about the threats in the world, this journey that they're on. They learned about Seva, how to do satsang. They learned it all. But the common factor in both Sakya is Maharaj sent them back. Maharaj sent them back in the world with the one thing, one piece of advice of not to forget. So they sent them back. They were businessmen. They said, go, run your business, have a family. So do it, but just don't forget. Do it, live, but live consciously. We know that this money is going to come. First day of the month, we get our paycheck. We know that in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, that happiness isn't going to be there. So we can refocus our happiness. Does that make sense? So Maharaj wants us to be successful. That's nothing wrong with it. But it's being successful in a conscious way. It's living consciously that actually these things, these worldly things, they're not going to quench that thirst. They're just going to keep going. There's always going to be a new car model. There's always going to be a new fashion trend. It's going to keep going. Does that make sense to you? Is that all right? Thank you. That was a great question. Hanji, anyone else before we wrap up? Hanji, Dilip Singh.
I think was reflecting over the 5 weeks we've been here about life changing, about how your life can change. And it just seems like there's that expectation that there has to be this one kata, there has to be this one sort of like, this intense, overwhelming sort of thing, that we feel, especially like in camps and stuff. There has to be that intense, jamko digari kata or something like that, right? Which just changes your life and all that. But I think even these sort of smaller sort of settings that we have, these units, right, that we have, and just doing the work, that has a profound effect as well. And I've been seeing that, in the vichar that we had. So that's sort of what I've come across, around here. That's one thing. And the work that we're doing here, the Bani that we read, when we put it out, it really puts things in perspective. Like the whole thing that we had about slander, can we actually avoid it, how hard it is? I think that's what puts in perspective, these bhaktis like Jio Supna Repe Kana, Si Jagojan, like these life is just a dream, right? And even Bhai Sahib said there that Paramatma Vaheguru actually feels so real because it actually is the only thing that's real.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Anyone else? Before we wrap up, Hanji.
I have a question. In terms of how you said, was it anger and desire? You said that they were heavily weighted. Do you have any what was I gonna say?
how does it kind of like affect the other ones, I guess?
So, are you talking about when we looked at the Bhangti of Kam, Krodh, Ahankar, Vigutti, like when Maharaj listed them? Or are you talking about when we asked the survey question, when we asked you guys what was the
Oh no,
one that
when
had
we
you?
were talking about it, like, is there like a certain order or like priority that Maharaj is kind of like given, like which ones are kind of tug each other, like cause each other more?
So they're all linked because they're all under the umbrella of ego.
Yeah.
But I would say, just looking at Gurbani, Kam and Krodh, this desire and anger, they're the two that come up the most with each other. Kam, Krodh, Nagar Bahu Pariya, Milasadu Khanda Khanda. Himara says it in Sohila Sahib that this town of my body is full of Kam desires and Krodh. Why? Because I'm not getting them. So I hope that answers your question. So Kam and Krodh, I would say, are the two that come up the most. But they are all linked. They all sort of lead to each other eventually. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Sorry, say again? 5 package deal. Hanji. Anyone else before we wrap up? Okay. Hanji. Oh, yeah, go on.
I have a question. When it says Gam Nam Kiro Takarko Pariya in Kitun Sahela, like what does that mean? Like sort of.
Do you know what a nagar is?
No.
Where have you heard the word nagar before? Have you heard of a nagar kirtan?
No.
No? So have you seen when Maharaj goes on the streets here? And
Yeah.
there's a big parade. That's called a nagar kirtan. So kirtan, you know what kirtan is?
Yeah.
So kirtan, nagar kirtan, a nagar means town.
Yeah.
So in this town, in this city, there's kirtan. That's all a nagar kirtan means. So when Maharaj says Kam, which is our desire, Krodh, which is our anger, Nagar, Bahupariya. This Nagar, they're referring, it's a metaphor. They're not actually talking about the town. We are in Southall, it is a bit dodgy, but they're actually talking about their body. They're talking about the body, this Nagar of the body. Does that make sense? It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
So they're saying my city is full of these things. It's full of it. I'm always wanting something, and then I'm always getting angry when I don't get it. But then they say, Mil sadhu khandal khandahe. Meeting a sadhu, meeting someone who can guide us out of this, we can break them into pieces. Does that make sense? We can actually overcome these things. We don't have to just live in that desire and anger.
Yeah.
Make sense? Top man. Thank you. Okay, Sarsangji. Anyone else? Go on.
You know how you said about the whole thing about Gam, and there was a question there about, is it possible to overtake these desires, right? Is it possible to get beyond them? It's actually for all the joy, because they're all, they're all quite sensational. Like you have a lot of energy in the body, we feel it already. My question would be, like, it's just something to contemplate about. It'd be like, so when you have that thought arising in our mind. So, for example, let's say desire Gam, right? Say I desire your hoodie, for example, right? And I see that, I look at that. Then the thought comes into my mind. Actually, that hoodie will look really, really good on me. I'll probably be quite happy having that. Now the thought sort of comes in, but before that, the sensation comes. So I'll probably ask, and it's with everything in life actually, is all the bunch short when the sensation comes in. Can we just keep it at the sensation? So can we just, you know what I mean? Can we just keep it at the sensation so when thought comes in, that doesn't interfere? That's what I'll probably say. So is that watching? I don't know if it makes any sense to anybody, but just try it, I guess, when that thing comes in, that sensation, just keep it there, and we don't actually have to act on it.
To go with it. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Okay, time's getting on. Some people are leaving. I want everyone to get a gift before they go. Whatever changes you guys have made, stick with them. This journey, it doesn't have to be so serious. Have fun with it. It's all right. This path is hard, but we can enjoy it. It's like getting fit, going to the gym. No one likes it. It's horrible. When we start seeing the difference, it encourages us to keep going. So whatever changes people have made, please don't go back on it. Keep building on it. And lastly, we put together a quick survey. It's only 5 questions. A couple of them are like multiple choice. You don't have to do it right now if you don't want to. If you're in the WhatsApp group, I'll send you guys a link. We basically just need to know what worked throughout this whole course. It's very different to anything we've done before. What worked, whether the survey's good, whether a bit of a distraction. We also need to know just what didn't work. And any ideas you guys might have for the future, we basically just need to understand how to serve you guys better. I mentioned gifts. I'm going to come around now with the gifts. Hope I got enough for everyone. It's not Barchad. Don't accept it with 2 hands, otherwise you will get me cancelled. Satsangaji, at the beginning of every talk, we start off with the beginning of Japji Sahib, which is the Mool Mantar. And I feel like now we've come to the end, it's only right that we finish off with the Salok. So let's say this one together, Ji. Salok Pavan Guru Pani Pita Mata Tarata Mahat Devasarat Doidai Daya Khele Sagala Jagat Jangiya Buryaya Vacha Taramadur Karmi Apo Apani Kinere Ke Dur Jini Namate Aya Ke Masakata Kal Nanak Te Mukh Ujjale Keti Chutti Nal Jini Namate Aya ਗੇ ਮਸਕਤ ਕਾਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਜਲੇ ਕੇਤੀ ਛੁੱਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋਨੇਹਾਲ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ